Hello and welcome back to the From Zero to Marketing Hero podcast. Today is day 11 of my year-long journey to create and post a podcast episode every single day for a year. If you've been following along, you'll know that this week has been all about working on the roadmap, starting to gain some clarity on where we're starting from, what success might look like. I started to have a look at who my ideal client and who my target audience is. I've started to identify some of the puzzle pieces that I've already started taking action to create. Things like this podcast, my email list, and a few other pieces that are already in motion. And yesterday I spoke about where those pieces fit in a marketing plan or a sales funnel. This week has been all about looking at things from that zoomed out level. And I need to keep reminding myself that that's exactly what I need to keep doing just for a little while. My mind has this tendency to just keep jumping into something specific. There are so many things on the go, and I just need to keep reminding myself to not get stuck in the minute details, but to keep coming back to this zoomed out view and just make sure we get some of these basics right first. So today, I just want to quickly come back to the marketing principle that I identified last week, which was the RDIE marketing principle. And I really loved that. I really resonated with it. So there are 4 elements to this. There's a research phase, a development phase, an implementation phase, and an evaluation phase. And this becomes a cycle that we could just continuously flow through. And I am sure that this exact cycle can be applied to every single piece of the puzzle that we have in our marketing efforts. Everything from looking at the overall strategy to the tiniest minute detail on a landing page, for example. But it's got me thinking, where am I in this cycle? And what I have uncovered is I didn't do a lot of research and development. In the main, I have pretty much, well, particularly with this podcast, I had an idea. There was not much time and energy at all that went into marketing and following this principle. But I jumped straight to implementation, straight into taking action, which has been fantastic. I've jumped in the deep end to something that was not comfortable. It's something that was a real challenge to actually get started on. And over the last 10 days, 11 episodes now, I've learned some fantastic lessons about myself, about the processes involved in creating something like this, and everything else that comes with actually getting something started and off the ground and in motion. But I do think it is important to understand where we are. If I go back to what I spoke about yesterday and look at all those little puzzle pieces that I have began taking action on, each one of those pieces is quite similar in many respects. I haven't been following a cycle like this or a process like this at all. There has been an idea. There has been a small amount of guessing what the best way to approach it is. And there has been jumping straight into taking action and giving it a go. So I have all these little puzzle pieces, this podcast included, a Facebook group that I started last week, my Facebook page, my own personal page, my email list. There's various different pieces of this puzzle that are already sort of in motion. I'm continuing to take action on, but I need to now apply this framework and have a look and try and determine what the next step for me is with these little processes. And looking at the framework, it's pretty self-explanatory. Evaluation. However, from a marketing perspective, what does evaluation mean? And of course, we kind of all know that we want our efforts, our actions to create success. But what does that mean? I've spoken last week, I've spoken this week about my goals behind all this. My goals are to be able to find my voice, to be able to create a message that is talking specifically to my dream clients' problems, to have them become aware of who I am through my marketing efforts to the point where they trust me enough to reach out and start a conversation. That's my dream. And this is going to show how much I have to learn throughout this journey. But at the moment, I don't have any idea really how I am going to start measuring the efforts that I am taking. At a very basic level, yes, I know I can check statistics on how many people are listening to a podcast or viewing a YouTube channel, but I need to come back to starting to think about a system, trying to figure out the things that I can start to test against each other. And I just caught myself just then. I just caught myself getting way too specific for this stage. So I'm going to zoom out once again. This evaluation process is all about measuring the success of the actions we're taking. It's about identifying lessons that we can take into the next iteration of the actions that we are planning to take. So after a quick research session this morning, things like return on investment are really important for us to measure. But even taking that a little bit further, the return on our investment could be financial investment, it could be time investment, or it could be the energy that we invest. Then there's customer satisfaction. We need to have a think about ways we can measure how satisfied the customer is, or the potential customer is, with the message, the products, the trust that they're building with what we've got to offer. Then there's things like brand awareness, completing an evaluation on the why we're focusing on these actions, the relevance, how closely it is related back to our marketing plan. Ultimately, in our evaluation process, we want to start building a process that allows us to be able to take as much as we can back into the next step in the cycle, which is circling back to the research phase. And this cycle continues indefinitely. And that's what I love. I love that this is just a continuous, perpetual cycle of improving, developing, taking action, and learning lessons as we go. And for me, the biggest takeaway today is just the realization or the understanding that this is where I am. I jumped straight to implementation. And maybe the next thing for me to focus on is evaluation, how I can start to evaluate some of these things that I've already started. And again, some of that will be easy, some of it not so easy. What I identified today is I don't even have a way just yet of identifying traffic to my website, for example, which as I go through this process is maybe most likely going to become an integral part of the evaluation process. So there's already a couple of ideas there that I've got in terms of what my next actions need to be, which is fantastic. So I might leave it there for today. I really do feel that this week has been really beneficial in terms of allowing me to start to make sense of the starting point more than anything else. I know this week was really about the roadmap. It's turned into a little bit more of a focus on the starting point. I think having that target that target 12 months down the track, that basically just becomes our compass. It becomes our North Star in some ways that we're just going to aim our actions at and our endeavors at, but gaining clarity and gaining as much clarity as I can on where I am and exactly where I'm starting from is proving to be something that's hugely beneficial. So I'd love to know what you guys think. Do you think I'm on the right track? Do you think I'm asking myself the right questions? Let me know. Reach out. Head over to the Facebook group, leave your comments there, or reach out personally. I would love to hear from you. And lastly, if you are enjoying the podcast, give the podcast a subscribe, leave a review. It'd be great to start to build a little bit of traction with this. And until tomorrow, bye for now.